Hello again. Today we're going to be talking about the best way to fret a note. So sometimes when you're starting out, it can be kind of tough. It was for me. Just getting the right feel for where to put your finger. Now I'm going to zoom in a minute and show you this from a different angle so you can really see what I'm doing. But a couple things to keep in mind just in general. One is that all of these things, usually take a little bit of practice. So just be very patient with yourself. If it doesn't sound great, right at the beginning, don't worry about it too much. Just keep cool, relax, and just keep going. These little tiny things tend to correct themselves because your brain knows if you do a sound like that or something, your brain knows that's not what you're trying to do. And so it'll keep experimenting these little micromuscular movements until you get it to sound the way that you want it to. So just be patient. Now in general, I'm going to want to use pretty close to the tips of my finger. At the tip of my finger, I have a bone at the end there, and so it provides more of a hard surface, so it'll be easier to push down, as opposed to like if I pushed with a really soft part of my finger. It'd be a little bit more difficult to do. Definitely can do that, and later on we're going to do a number of things with that part of the finger, but for now, you can just get the tip of your finger coming down kind of squarely on the string. And what I mean by squarely is like right in the middle. If this was the string right here, I'd want my finger coming down right, pretty much on top of it like that, as close as possible. Another thing that's just a good habit to get into is to try to make that first joint of your finger, this one here, from your tip of your finger to the first knuckle there, as close to perpendicular to the string as possible. This doesn't always matter, and sometimes actually it's not going to be what we're going to be trying to do, but especially early on, and especially when you're doing chords early on. A very common thing is to accidentally touch the next string because one of your fingers is leaning over a little too far and it mutes it. So if I just try to keep it as close to 90 degrees from the fretboard as possible, so perpendicular to the fretboard, like it's coming straight out of it, then it'll clear the next string easily. Alright, so why don't we zoom in and I'll show you the best finger placement for fretting notes. So you can see here that my finger actually can go in a number of different places just in this first fret space here. I got it here, or here, or here, whatever. And there actually is a best place to put it, and that's right behind the fret wire there. And this is for the first fret. You can see how if I play with my finger right there, as long as it's squarely on the string and pushing down hard enough, I don't have to push too hard. I'm going to play it down here so it sounds a little better. It'll get a very nice tone. I don't have to push very hard or put in too much extra effort. If I keep playing that and I just move my finger back, you'll see what happens. I'm just going to keep pushing with the same force, but just move my finger back. So you can see, actually if I move it back like that to where I was doing this, I have to push really hard to get it to make a sound, and even then it doesn't sound as good. So right behind that fret wire. Now that's for the first fret. For the second fret, it would just be, once again, behind the higher of the two fret wires. The third fret, fourth fret, and so on. And that's true with any string. If I chose like the fifth string here. And so forth. And sometimes you can troubleshoot problems, like if you're making a chord and maybe it's sounding a little strange, like you're like, what is it? Do I have to press harder? It might just be that you need to just move the fingers up a little bit in that fret space, closer to the fret wire. And then you shouldn't have to press too hard. And in certain cases, like for the A major chord, where you need three fingers next to each other, since you can't get all of these fingers right in line with each other like that. Fingers are usually too big for most of us. You just make do with the best that you can. And so I have this finger right behind that fret wire, this one as close as I can to that one, this one as close as I can to that one. And now that my index finger, you can see, by that time is way back here. So I'm going to have to push a little harder to compensate for it. But usually you don't have to do things this extremely. You don't have to fret anything this far back. Usually you'll be able to play closer to behind the fret wire. and that'll give you a much nicer tone, and it'll be a lot easier on your fingers and won't tire you out as quickly.